All right, I hope that explanation of the system and how it can help you grow your business was useful. And now it's time to talk numbers. If you're like me, you think in terms of ROI, money out, money in, how long will it take? So let's have that conversation. And I pulled together this fancy spreadsheet that will allow us to do that. And I call it example target returns to mortgage broker. Obviously, this is an example and these are targets, but I'd like it to be as useful and conservative and realistic as possible to provide a foundation for you to make an informed decision as to whether this is a good business decision in our working together. All right, so ROI clearly is driven by investment and returns. We'll start here with the figures that drive your returns. I'm going to start out with an assumption of, say, an average loan amount that you're writing of $300,000. Clearly, this will vary by market, but we'll just use it as a starting point. I'll also use an average commission rate of 1%. And so that will then drive the commissions, obviously, to you. In terms of the investment, our working together is $1,000 per month Canadian, obviously plus GST. Wish I could avoid that for you, but I can't. And that includes everything. And let me just say that my counterparts may charge, say, $500 for a setup, $500 for ad spend, $500 for my services, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't do that. I'm going to include everything in that you saw before, including the setup, all the automation tools, the ad spend is included in that. Essentially, the contact and pipeline management tools, access to everything via an app, filtering for lead quality, all the calendar integration if you have an online calendar, and the reminders and email marketing, all that you saw in the previous video. So everything is included, just one number per month. That would be for our working together. I'll also say that if you have a partner, I mentioned that I can certainly do a round robin between you and your partner. And to do that, so the pricing would be at $600 per person plus GST, obviously. Or if you have two partners, it would be at $450 per person to do that. It would all be run on the same Facebook page, but the leads would be shared. All right, so let's just go with the assumption that it's you. And from there, let's take a look at the duration of 6 months. I don't work on contracts. I'm not going to have you sign a contract that says, you're obligated for X number of months or years. That said, the nature of our business, both real estate and online advertising, is that we need to give it time. Time because of buyer cycles, time because we need to work through the number of people to be able to find the deals for you that you can close on the loans. And also from an advertising standpoint, we need to be able to give that time to fill your funnel and to really have people come through to a revenue place for you. All right, so given that, obviously we're running some simple math, 1,000 a month, 6 months, we're looking at $6,000 over that time period. And let's take a look at what the results would look like or could look like. That's actually where I start, and that's in delivering exclusive leads to you. I can see myself easily generating 240 leads for you over that time period, or on a monthly basis, around 40 per month. Now, we talked about how once those leads come in, I'm recommending that you not contact them right away. In fact, what I recommend, or if you want me to filter for you, your call. I can deliver them all to you if you wish. But under this scenario, let's assume you're going to do some filtering. So you filter for credit and income and down payment. And given that, let's say only 60% of them make their way through that filter. So we're now looking at numbers like this, 144 over the 6 month time period, or 24 per month in that range. And at that point, the automated follow-up system is going to kick in. You still haven't lifted a finger. You still haven't taken any time on your part to be able to communicate with these people. We're going to do that automatically. From that system, what I'm seeing typically is somewhere in the 70% range is very typical. Generally, it's 50 to 90 is not atypical. So we'll use the figure of 70% replying. So now the number of people that come through are around 100 over the 6 month time period, call it 16-ish per month that will be replying to you. Now, not all those replies will be positive, and not all those people will be viable prospects. So let's take a look at real prospects, and we'll knock the number down and say only 60% of them are real prospects for you. So we're looking at, say, 60 over the 6 months and around 10 a month in that range. Now, of those, you're not going to be taking applications on all of them. Let's assume 40% you're going to be able to write up applications. So the numbers now come down to this range here, ballpark for a month in terms of applications. And of course, not all those applications are going to turn into closed loans. I'm going to use a figure of, say, 30%. And you're going to know these numbers better than I will, but I hope you see these as being realistically conservative. And so we're looking at, say, 7 over the 6 months and 1-ish per month as far as closed loans for you. Now, based upon these numbers here, we have an average commission of $3,000 per loan. So total commissions over the 6-month time period based upon those loans would be $21,000 or so. And if we take a look at essentially at a multiplier, as far as money in being 6,000, money out being 21, we're looking at essentially a 3.6x on your money, on your investments in this marketing system. Now, there are a couple things I want to convey before we get too excited about tripling our money. Is first of all, that this period here, this is a build. This is not a flip a switch and turn it on and immediately have a loan close for you month one. If that happens, frankly, I'd be surprised. It's possible, but given the nature of bicycles and the fact that this is an ongoing funnel activity, really that shouldn't be an initial expectation. I would say for the first 6 months, it would be somewhere in the range of a third of these numbers. Second 6 months would be 2/3 of the numbers. Third 6 months, we're going to be at full force with these and moving forward. And seeing those for you. Why is that? Because, well, in month 6, you finally are at the place where you're benefiting from the conversations that have taken place for the first 5 months. And when we just start, that's just not going to happen. So again, I want to be realistically conservative, so we all feel comfortable as far as what can happen and what will happen, so that we are positioning ourselves for the long term. We're building an engine really that allows you to be able to have that automation, that very high quality funnel filling activity that really uses your time well. All right, so that's concept number one. Concept number two is this: if we take a look at the percentages of who you're actually doing business with, we can look at the percentage of the leads that come in, or those that have been filtered, passed through the filter. But let's get right to the percent of contacts. So this is where your work starts. And so you're going to be in touch with these people here. And under this scenario, what you're seeing is that you're only doing business with 7% of the people that come through, meaning 93% of the people that come through this overall process are not doing business with you. And it takes a particular kind of broker to be okay with that. All right. You have to have thick skin, understanding we're working through the numbers. So that's one reality. And if you're not that kind of person, that's fine. If you're aware that this is very much of a numbers game and you can put that into context, and great. But the flip side of that is that with only 7% of the people coming from this place forward doing business with you here, you're essentially tripling your investment in your marketing. Now, the other thing I'll mention is that obviously these numbers change pretty nicely if you're looking at contracts that are at higher levels. So if we're averaging 400K, then we're closer to 5. If we're averaging 500K, then we're closer. I missed a 0. If I put a 0 here. Okay. If you're at 500K, we're looking at a 6x. So that's a quick overview. I hope I answered your questions on that, both in terms of the previous video as far as what we're doing and the system we're putting in place for you, but also the ROI figures and what that can mean for you. If you have any questions around this, there are a couple options. I'll include a link, a button down below where you can click to schedule time and ask any more questions. I'd be happy to clarify for you. Or if I've already answered all your questions and you like it, you want to move forward, then I'll include a button where we can begin the onboarding and the payment and get that all launched for you as quickly as possible. Obviously, I'll need some information from you, and that'll come in the onboarding process. And I'll be able to have the system set up such that when you make the payments, when you get set up with your payments, it is deferred for 3 days while I focus on setting up your system, and that payment doesn't hit for 3 days. So with that, I hope I answered your questions, and I look forward to connecting with you one way or the other down the road. Thanks very much for your time.